Commissioner Patterson, would you do that?
Everybody bow your heads. Lord, that gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you again to start this meeting, Lord, with your blessings. Ask that you just be with every heart tonight. Help us to have a good meeting. Help us to carry it about in a respectful manner, Lord, that we please in your sight. Ask that you be with each and every commissioner here, each and every person that speaks. And again, Lord, that we would ask for your wisdom, that we can get things done for the betterment of our county here, Lord. And thank you again for all your blessings. We ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, under unfinished business, approve the minutes of the May 25th meeting, regular scheduled board meeting. Commissioner Patterson, any errors or omissions?
I did not see any. No, sir.
Commissioner Surcharge?
No, sir.
I'll ask for a motion that we approve the minutes of the May 25th regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a second. All in favor? Still under unfinished business, number 3, the award of the bid proposal for the radio console system for Fannin County 911. Patrick?
We did evaluate all the bids that we received and looked at demos of each system, and would like to recommend that we go with the low bid, which would be the telex system from Government Communications, and the total on that was $127,565.
What company is that?
Government Communications out of Tacoma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you personally look at all this stuff?
Yes.
And
Every
y'all,
one of us did.
we like it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Any kind of warranties on it?
Yes, it's got a warranty, and we would also continue with maintenance through that vendor. Just one system.
Explain how that's going to help our county.
Well, the current system has reached end of life, so we have to replace it, or, we could be in a bad situation at some point if it ever quits. So we've got to replace it with something, and each system had all the features that we needed. Just made sense to go with the low bid to that point.
Commissioner Patterson?
I have no questions.
On the warranty, does it give a specific how long the warranty is, or?
So actually, the maintenance contract covers all hardware and software.
Okay.
So as long as we keep up with the yearly maintenance, it's all covered, everything, labor and hardware covered.
And the next closest bid was?
206,000, so about 79,000 more.
Mm-hmm.
How long does this last, this equipment? What's the lifespan?
The system we've had now, we've had for about 15 years, and it's run 24/7 continuously. So
Okay.
it should last us for many years.
At least that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If Banks County has the same system in place, and they've used it for, I think, 5 years, and have no trouble at all.
Well, we hope we get the same service. We hope we get the good service and last us at least 15 years and continue
Longer.
service on it. So, yeah, longer for that price. All right. Any other discussion on this before we?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion that we award the bid proposal for the radio console in the amount of $127,565 to Gunby.
Got to be communication.
I'll ask for that motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Okay.
Good job.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Pastor.
Under new business, number 4, we have a variance request from Wesley and Amanda McNelly to place a house 8 feet from the U.S. Forest Service line. And is there anybody here that opposes this? Anybody here that is in favor for it? Okay. Commissioner Patterson,
Is Mr. McNally here?
I'm right here, sir.
Just tell us a couple of things about it if you don't care.
Come on up, Wes.
a little bit.
So it's a .47 of an acre. It's got 4 sides of forestry service on it, and it's off of Dry Branch Road. Dry Branch Road takes up approximately a quarter of the lot. So we just had to turn the house exactly how we did to get it in there.
So there's no other body other than Forester Service?
All 4 sides.
All 4 sides?
Yeah.
Okay. Went out there and looked at it. Where's that? How long has it been, when did you start to work? I mean, and maybe why did you start to work without a variance?
Well, we started to work because we had the house plan laid out.
Yeah.
And when my guys went out, the house, it's a house and an attached garage at a 22-degree angle.
Right.
So when my footer guys laid it out, it fit perfect. We were 15 foot off each property line. Well, when they went to dig the footers, the angle changed a little bit and cocked that garage over to where we need a variance now to be able to get the house plan on the lot. So that, and it's been going on about 120 days.
I know we've did a lot of talking and learned things every day that I didn't know before. I've heard that the lowest point now is 12 feet instead of 8 feet, correct?
Yes, I had a safe room designed on the back of the side of the garage, but we're gonna take that off, so it's 12 foot with an overhang now, so we need a 10-foot variance.
so it'll actually be a 10-foot
A
variance.
10-foot variance.
Right.
Well, that's back to what we, you know, it's always been.
Right.
Okay.
And you've got all that stuff that's cleaned up, that, the silk fence and the culvert, we're working on that?
Yeah, working on the code.
15? Okay. And, so you had some vandalism or something up that way?
Yeah, just some people at the park over there come and use my porta john and leave a little bit of garbage, but we got all that cleaned up, so.
Yeah, I didn't see a sign, and I heard about some stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you ready to start immediately?
Pouring concrete Friday, weather permit, and y'all permit, so.
Mr. Thurston?
I have no objection.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioner Patterson?
No, you know, we've got to look at it from all sides. You know, now, I did have some concerns to begin with, you know, with the way it's been done, but listening to you and what's happened, and the Forest Service is the only one around all sides. That makes a big difference as well, so I'm okay.
That being said, I'll ask for a variance, or I'll ask for a motion to approve the variance request from Wesley and Amanda McNelly. And we will change that to put 10 feet, 10-foot variance. So I'll ask for that motion.
I'll make a motion.
Ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you for that. Number 5, we have a Fannin County Development Authority Executive Director Christy Gribble with a discussion on Georgia's broadband initiatives.
I'm gonna pull up a few slides. I'm gonna adjust.
We get the lots?
Should be the AV mute button.
What now?
AV mute button.
Let me turn it off. thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I have done a similar presentation last February, so you've heard some of this, and there's been some things that have evolved, but I wanted to talk to you about some of the work I've been doing around broadband and why I'm doing it, and it really stems from some of the push from the state of Georgia. So in 2018, the state of Georgia put together a team to work on broadband because of a need for more broadband expansion in rural communities in particular. So they put a team together to kind of look at where the needs are in the community and get input from different resources such as Georgia Technology Authority, GDOT, utilities. So they put a very strong team together to look at broadband within the state of Georgia, with a goal at that time to eventually have some funding that they could grant out to communities who wanted to pursue grant funding. So in 2018, there wasn't really a plan around where this money was going to come from and how, and things have evolved. So part of what this team put together was some mapping for the state of Georgia that showed more accurately what parts of counties were served and unserved. So this map is what the state put together, and I will say it is not completely accurate, but it's the best that they could do, and it's better than a lot of states across the country. So the orange, the darker orange, is served areas within the county. So that's Fannin County. The light yellow shows unserved. So what that ultimately means is, not to get too dry, this can get detailed, but 25 megabits down, 3 megabits up, or bytes, I'm not exactly sure how they say it. And that's just internet speeds, uploads and downloads. And then service would have to be, okay, so for the served areas, they have to reach those speeds, and then there has to be greater than 80% locations within a census block that have the ability to get internet service at those speeds. Okay, so that's how they define the darker orange. This map shows 42% of the county is unserved, which ultimately would mean those yellow areas within the county could potentially be eligible for grant funds. Okay, so that mapping is something the state of Georgia has done, and we really appreciate it because before they did this, it showed that almost all of Fannin County was served, which we all know is not accurate. So mapping is something the state has done. This is something that I've looked at closely. Another thing the state has done is put together a Broadband Ready program. And what that means is a community can apply to be broadband ready and has to go through a couple of different things to get to that designation. So why would we want to be broadband ready? It means that we are thinking about broadband for our community, broadband being high-speed internet. So I'm not really talking about 5G here, talking about in-ground internet. So broadband ready could position us to say, hey, we've been looking at broadband in our community. Doesn't make any promises, it just says we're looking at the internet needs in the community. And when the grant funds come out, it's more favorable for communities that are broadband ready to get funding. So a couple of things that we need to do in order to apply to be broadband ready is implement a model ordinance, which we actually, the commissioners voted on last February, and it was a favorable vote and you have the ordinance in your packets. If you have any questions later, I can answer that. But the ordinance basically, let me finish talking about the broadband program, and then I'll talk about the ordinance in particular. But you have to vote to implement the ordinance, and then amend the comprehensive plan, and I'll get into comprehensive plan in a minute. So once we've done those two things, I can apply for our community to be broadband ready. So, the model ordinance. It's basically an ordinance for a broadband network project to go through a permitting process. So, the idea is to streamline the process for a utility that wants to, needs to use right-of-way. There would be a single point of contact, and when we did that ordinance, it was Marie Woody's office because she was already doing permitting. And then the whole idea is to reduce obstacles for a utility company that wants to extend service within the community. So again, that was passed. You have a copy of the ordinance. Any questions on that? Okay. And then the other piece is the comprehensive plan, which is very comprehensive. We have a couple of ladies, Julianne and Gretchen, who came to answer questions if they might be directed towards a comprehensive plan. Do you have the full plan with you? So it was 2017, right?
This was in 2017.
Okay. So in 2017, and I'm going into a little more detail on this because we'll be addressing this as a community next year, right? Yeah. In 2017, the county and stakeholders from cities, lots of different offices got together and put together that comprehensive plan. This goes through Department of Community Affairs. You have to have your comprehensive plan updated every 5 years in order to get funding from the state. Am I saying that accurately? Yes? Okay, very good.
A number of different kinds of funding.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's very important. We did this in 2017, but the Broadband Ready program is asking that we amend that plan to have some elements that talk about broadband. So you also have that in your packet. Send it to you in email, so you might have had a chance to look at that ahead of time. We basically talk about the fact that we're looking at different areas of the county that need broadband expansion. Gretchen and I have been working on it for 2 years now. So the amendment, while it sounds simple, is not that simple. You have to have the same process, and I say on here every 10 years for the comprehensive plan. It's changed to 5 years. So, but every 5 years you have to go through the same process, but if you amend it, you have to do the same thing. So you have to have a public hearing, the state has to approve the document, and then we would adopt the amended comprehensive plan at a commissioner's meeting. Hopefully soon, if everybody's on board with this. Anything that I've left out about that? So basically, it's verbiage within the comprehensive plan that says we're looking at broadband. No promises. Yes, ma'am.
And a map
Yep.
that has even more detail than the map
Yep.
that Chrissy just put.
Yep.
A broadband map.
Yeah. So my next step ultimately with the comprehensive plan is to make sure you all are on board with it. And I can speak to you in more detail, but I've spoken with Jamie and Glenn about that. And then we would have a public hearing, ideally in July, and I can get with you guys about that. That's for anybody from the public to come and make comments if they would like. And then the state would have to approve it. And then ultimately, once everything's approved, I can apply for our community to be broadband ready. So, all right. Why am I doing all this? I get calls, you probably get calls from people all the time who have bought a cabin and they can't do work in their home because the internet's not good. There are a lot of components to why certain homes don't have internet. It's much more complex than ETC is here, we're just a mile down here, why can't we get it? It's very, very complex. It's a lot of money to extend internet in ground, even a mile. You have to have a certain amount of people to sign on, and if you've got one person down here that wants it and 10 don't, it doesn't make financial sense for a utility to extend it. So a lot that goes into it. We're in the mountains and we have homes that are spread out, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of research that has gone into me getting to this point, talking to the providers, et cetera. So the state has some American Rescue funds that, I believe it's coming from American Rescue, that ultimately they put into a big old grant fund that they are almost ready to release to communities to say, hey, do you want to apply for this? So what does that mean? We could apply for grant funding, but we have to have a utility, so ETC, TDS, Blue Ridge Mountain are our big ones in our community, who wants to also put money into expanding internet into a certain area within the community. That gets really complicated too. Where do you extend, where do you choose to put grant funding into the community when there's all these different pockets?
Well, who decides that?
We do. We do, and the utility company.
Have
So,
we had any utilities companies reach out to us? And
say that question again.
Have we had any utility companies reach out to
We
us?
have, yes. I'm trying to talk to all of them, but ultimately, that's a big piece of it. Where do they see it makes sense to extend from their service area? But also, we are the person who applies for the grant. We are the
How much
entity.
is this grant?
The minimum or the maximum is $2 million.
And so that's like offsetting the cost of these other companies to put that.
So the total
So-
cost could be up to $4 million. So they would, did that answer your question?
Half,
Yeah.
half.
They're not asking for communities to put money into it. We could, if we had extra, let's say American Rescue Plan money, we could if the cost of the project were big enough. Well, we don't have to. So
Is there any fees starting this project from us?
just the work that I'm doing on it. So everything that I'm doing, and I'm very careful with my wording here, it's not making any promises. A project may not make sense for our community. It boils down to the utility, the location, and I'm looking at, and I've talked to Patrick about this, are there areas within the community such as like towers that we have or fire stations that would really benefit from internet service that could help our public services, help emergencies, etc. So I'm looking at the big picture. Like I said, a project may not make sense for us, but if it does, I want us to be ready to go after the money, because this is kind of a once in a lifetime that this kind of money is being given to states.
Patrick, would that not help our broadband use for emergencies?
It would, yes. Mm-hmm.
And it would go better over the county, would it?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. Because that's what we're investing in with you too.
Right.
Yeah. So I put a survey together. I have some little postcards that I'm going to leave on the table outside. If anybody would, I would encourage you to take one and take the survey. It's additional data that we can get to help us in understanding where the true needs are for internet. Because we probably are hearing from 10, 15, 20 people the internet's terrible, or however many you're hearing from or I'm hearing from, but it's really good to know where the pockets are that we really need internet. So the survey's out there. That just is helping me gather additional data. Again, trying to understand the true need. And then why are we doing all this? Hold on, I'll show you. If anybody wants to put in the little URL and take the survey, it's under 5 minutes. Help me spread the word, please. But yeah, why am I doing this? There are grants available. We have to have the partnership with the utility. So it's got to work for them and us. And then details, we don't know yet. So the state's still trying to figure out how they would disperse funds, et cetera, et cetera. And I would love to have your support and clear communication between all of this along the way if a project seems to be the right fit for our community.
Well, the one thing that you said that is interesting is on the detail part, if the federal government hasn't decided exactly how much it's going to be allotted to communities, I don't want to get stuck with a big $1 million bill because they only would give us $1 million and it's a $2 million part, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I would want to make sure that
Yeah.
we're getting our money for that project.
Oh yeah, we won't do anything until they get their
Okay.
details worked out.
That's good. That's good. With it.
Yeah. I think timing's really good. I know some communities have been looking at broadband for a while. I think we're probably ahead of other communities in the game.
Good.
So I think we're in a good place. Again, it's just kind of determining where and why and how, because we got different pockets of the community that would love to have internet. And how do we, can't make everybody happy, but how do we look at what's the best use of grant funds?
Yeah.
Does that all make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know it's a lot of details.
Chris, tell us what the timeline on all this, what we
Wait.
have to do, by what time, those type of things.
The more timely thing for me is the public hearing for the amending the comprehensive plan, which between Gretchen, Julianne, and I, we've done all the work for that. It's just getting that public hearing on the date and making sure you guys don't have any questions.
Is there a deadline?
No, that's on us. I mean, I'm accurate in saying that, right? We just need to get that done. So the deadline
That's
with...
the first thing we did.
Yeah, so deadline in my mind is the grant funds being released. I want us to be positioned to where
Ready.
we can still apply for grants if we don't do this broadband ready thing that is part of the comprehensive plan amendment.
So
We-
this is a proactive approach.
Yes.
To get everything in line.
Yes.
For when the grants become available.
Yes.
We're there and can just jump on.
We're
Correct.
camping out on the doorstep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, if you're broadband ready, you're gonna be more competitive in your grant application. And there will be a lot of competition.
Well, I think our cities and county is broadband now, ain't we? Everybody? Communication wise? Like, didn't they upgrade, we upgraded ours, didn't Early upgrade McCaysville's and the county upgraded
For
to,
the radio systems?
yeah. Cool things.
Yeah. It's a process.
Yeah.
But I thought it was also really important for you guys to hear this comprehensive plan process because we're all going to be going through it together in a year. It's pretty tedious, but at the end of the day, it's what you got to do to get the money. So,
Sounds good, good work.
yeah, okay. Well,
So the
thank
next
you.
thing we do is looking for a public hearing?
Yeah, and are we having a meeting on July 6th?
Next week is the.
Oh, that's the 13th.
The 13th. I may just double check with each of you if there's any more questions and then possibly shoot for July 13th for a public hearing. Yeah, okay. Very good. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yes, sir.
So, ready?
Thank you, that's real appreciation. Okay, number 6, Public Works Director Zach Radcliffe on the opening of the road bids. Okay, speak loud. I'm hard to hear. There you go, speak loud. Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Good
First bid?
Proceed.
What payment is this?
It's an LB state grant money.
Okay.
I think we got, keep number here. I guess I can't tell you the number right here, looks like it really playing with. Anyway, they give us some money every year.
Okay.
We're using this, red match about 30%.
Okay.
I think it's around 700,000.
And was this for roads in particular?
Yes, it was. We got 3 roads on it. We have 8th Street, Old Dial from 60 to Vantage Store. Then we have 8th Street from city limits to the intersection at Kirschwitz, Galloway. And what's the other?
Tennis court. Tennis court.
Yeah, tennis court. Tennis court from Highway 2 to Surcharge.
Do you want me to read the total bid or the price per road?
I just did the bid. I'm
Right.
hoping that's what they all want.
This is from Johnson Paving LLC. Total bid is $1,128,600. This one is from C.W. Mathis Contracting. Total bid is $1,144,640. This is from Cold Bits.
COVID struck.
Right, and their total bid is $1,067,521.
What was that line, 5 what?
$1,067,521.
Ms. Dawes, could you give me that number again for Johnson Paving?
$1,128,600.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Last time, I'm sorry.
Is that it?
I was on
Forgive.
three and a half.
Three bids, yes, I'm sorry, sir.
Last, again, of course, I was sitting on the back pew there listening the last time when we went through an LMIG one. Last time we paved, I want to think that, what additional cost was there? Wasn't there additional cost that we had to hire somebody to do something?
Yes, sir.
And will we have to do that on any of these and all?
I don't think we will this time. I think we'll have time to take care of this.
What'd you have to do the last time?
We had, one commissioner asked that we do that, he thought it might, I guess, get a better quality job out of it.
Did it cost any more?
$9,000.
Let's don't make that mistake again. So this right here, man, is, now, this includes striping and all of it.
Yes.
Do they do the striping?
They'll contract it out.
Contracted out,
Yeah.
but it does include striping.
Yes. It's a temporary stripe for, up till 30 days, and then by then they'll put the permanent stripe in.
And this is for all 3 roads.
Yes, sir.
So what I've got, that is, cold trucking's the lowest bid. Is that right? Is that what you got?
COVID. for about $61,000 difference.
And who comes in second?
Johnson.
Johnson?
Johnson.
Yeah.
So I guess comes down to what kind of job they're gonna do. You always, what do you?
Coles did before us when we hired the supervision on the jobs.
Cole did it before,
Yeah.
last year.
Where's this one group is from Blairsville?
Yes, sir.
Where's C.W. Matthews based at?
Kennesaw.
Kennesaw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me get this straight one more time, and I apologize for picking this up, but. So the reason we hired somebody last time was to make sure that the job was done right.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we spent, and let's just use these numbers here. So we spent $1,067 from just using these numbers.
Right.
And then we spent another $90,000 to make sure that the job was done right.
Correct.
Why?
Make sure it's done right.
Okay.
Well, why did you hire anybody to come pay if they wasn't gonna do it right in the beginning?
Well, in the state contracts, that's the way they do. They have a inspector on the job.
Yeah.
And you can take just anybody out there and do a job. And,
Are we gonna have this problem?
well, I can't say we do.
We would definitely hope not,
Yeah, definitely.
but
Well, what the heck causes it? Do you write them a letter and say, hey, come look at my paving, or what? I mean, really, guys?
It happens. I mean, it just happens. You gotta have some controls. And that's what that is.
That's
That's what that is.
sounds
It's
good.
kind of like insurance,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You gotta have some sort of insurance.
Yeah, okay.
Because it could crack up
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah,
cost us even more than that.
correct. We think we're gonna take.
Talking
a look at-
asphalt.
Like a look at this.
I'm fine, it's whatever you wanna do, guys.
is there a lot in each one of those, a lot of verbiage and material and everything to
There's
look at?
certainly verbiage. Each of the bids are valid for 30 days, so that gives you time if you want to table it. We're checking real quick, but everybody's got their bid bond, everybody has their insurance indicating that, they're, so, to screw something up, we do have an insurance policy. Everybody's got their E-Verify certificates.
Would you be in favor of tabling this till the next meeting where you can take a look at that and see if there's any huge differences?
There's some things in there, and it's mechanicals. There's different things in there, there's street sizes and stuff like that, if they can't make that qualification. It's in that bid package. So if they can't make those qualifications, then, they can't make qualifications.
I think that's a good idea. It won't hurt.
We just want the job done
Yeah.
right. If we're gonna spend as much money, we shouldn't, this is just my opinion, obviously, we shouldn't have to hire somebody to come back and make sure the job's done right once we got it. So I wanna make sure everything is apples to apples in each one of those bids.
That's it.
So,
I agree.
with y'all approval, we'll just table this till the next meeting, if that'd be all
That's
right.
fine with me.
Okay, we have to make a motion to do that, do we?
Yeah.
Would it? All right. I'll make a motion that we table, this until the next regular meeting.
Thank you.
And for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, Zach.
While you're up here,
Okay.
and, sorry, but he's also gonna discuss number 10, so if it's all right with everybody, we'll just leave him up there, and that way you don't have to whittle his legs off running back and forth, if that's okay. So, we'll jump down to number 10, it's the discussion of the Georgia Department of Corrections work detail agreement.
Yes, sir.
So, I know at last year it was one price, obviously it went up. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think everybody agreed to continue to do that even though the price went up.
Substantial, yes, 10,000, I believe.
Okay, so we're getting, how many workers average are we getting? For that
We
price.
started back Monday with them, they came back with gals of COVID, they finally let them out. We received 8 guys, and we have 1 detail guard comes with it. And so, 8 guys, so he said possibly, he said, we're getting more in tomorrow, and then we might actually come up to 10, you know, just depends. At this point, we don't furnish anything but the van, and that's that price we got most of it. And a lot of people think this thing is the price for the year. We only pay them as they work. If they don't show up, somebody gets sick and they go home, we pay them for that half a day or hour, whatever we got it for. So it's not like that.
Just an annual price.
Yeah, we're not doing
How
that.
you use them, Zach?
They're weed eating, picking up litter right now,
Okay,
trying to
good.
get how that. So we're probably behind this
On the
stuff.
back roads, picking up trash?
Yeah.
We don't put them on the state roads.
No, no.
Just on the back.
Just be on county roads and stuff.
It's good.
And that amount that we give, that was for really the guard, right?
Well, there's a little more involved in it. Everybody thought that was the guard's salary. It's actually not the guard's salary. I know for the guard's salary set, and I'm sure they wish they had that.
Right.
But it goes for a lot of things. It's state insurances.
Insurance.
Yeah. So we provide the van, the fuel for getting back for the collateral. That's all we provide, just plus that money, that's it. The state furnishes the detainees, their lunches, their clothing, everything, but we don't do anything with just that.
It seems like
You
we're
give
still
them their
getting,
dues? I'm sorry, you know.
seems like we're still getting a good deal.
Oh, yeah, there's no question. We're getting 8 guys, and let me tell you, those guys like today, they don't care to work. I mean, they don't care to work. They like to get out, so they get out there and get it. That's sort of I guess you could say a privilege to get out.
Yeah.
Well, 8 guys and a supervisor for 50 grand.
It's not bad.
They can pick up
Kinda
a lot of
no-brainer.
trash.
You ain't kidding.
They can do a lot of things.
We're a tourist community and we need to keep it looking
Well, you gotta
nice.
keep these back roads clean,
We gotta keep
trash
all of it
picked
right.
up. You got some nasty roads.
Anything else?
No,
Zach,
sir.
Zach, do you see that we're having a problem? I mean, probably look at it. Are we having a problem with dumping?
As far as stuff. out on
People
the road.
people dumping trash on the roads?
It's not a real problem, but it's out there. I mean, there's things happening. Tires is a big thing. We're finding lots of those.
Tires?
Yeah, but just,
Don't we do a tire thing every so often?
we haven't done that in a while. That was a grant, Marie had come up with, and, it's been a while since we've done that.
Is that from the state?
Yeah, big grant with those guys.
I think we probably, you said we got some tires. I think we need to look into that. It's been a while.
We can definitely look into it, see what we got, see if we can.
Did you do that? Talk to Marie about it
Yeah,
when she
we
gets
did.
back?
Yeah.
Check it out. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when we're talking to Maria about that as well, there are some recycling plants that take, those tires and actually turn them into mats and different things like that.
It's kind of tough to get rid of them right now, because we got a lot of, byproducts from that tire recycling deal. And I'm thinking right now, I'm having to pay $1.50 a piece to get rid of them, which is not a bad price, but.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, still, it's kind of tough. And it's, you start having to pay for those people rolling off over the bank or something, it gets pretty pricey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish somebody would.
Anything else, Commissioner Patrick?
I think that's all.
I'm good.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
sir.
Thank you, Zach.
Take us to number 7. It's the cost share agreement between Fannin County and USDA, the Forest Service, Chattahoochee Oconee National Forest. And in particular, what this is for the Green Creek recreational area. I know again, during the last administration, we signed a contract to maintain Green Creek as a day use area. If I'm not mistaken, it was a day use area. And the Forest Service has reached back out to us to, in essence, sign another contract with them, because it's an annual contract, and it comes up, every year. So, and basically what we would be doing is making sure that it is maintained. We mow the yard, we mow the boat ramp. Any trees that fall, we would be responsible for that, but that's what we have been doing.
Does campground go with it?
We tried. I really did try.
I wished you could get it.
it would be awesome. And maybe that's something we can work on a little bit later,
I
so.
hope so.
Give you time. But going over there for the last few days, I mean, it was different days, and it's getting plenty of good use. I do know that. So, any discussion on that, Mr. Sir?
No, sir.
I'm good.
Okay. We have to get the wording together before we can vote on this.
No, you can vote on it when we
Okay.
present the contract.
Okay, gotcha.
When they give us the contract.
So I will make a motion that we re-up our contract with the Forest Service to maintain the Green Creek day use, as a day use area. I'll make that motion.
I second.
All in favor? Okay. Number 8, we have the placement of dispatch to go back under the Sheriff's Department. And if we go through this, it'll be effective July the 1st. I actually sat through a public safety class through ACCG, and I think Mr. Patterson you will soon, but it was brought to my attention there that we were one of the very few counties left in the state of Georgia, as far as a rural county, that dispatch fell under the umbrella of the MA direction. I was in a class of about 52 people, and when I asked if anybody in there, if it didn't fall under the umbrella, I was probably the only one in that class. And ACCG made comment about, especially in a rural area, why it should be, in their opinion, obviously. But even thinking about that a little bit more, it just made sense. It used to be back in the day. It used to be under the sheriff's guidance. And the reason I brought this up was to see if placing it back under the sheriff's umbrella would be beneficial. And at this time, I think it would be myself anyway. So we'll open it up for discussion, if you will. And Commissioner Cersei, you have any?
Have you talked with the sheriff and Robert Graham?
Did.
What's their views on it?
I'm going to include Patrick in this as well. So I talked to.
I didn't mean to leave you
No,
out.
no, no. I'm gonna say this. I talked to Patrick first,
Okay.
and I asked Patrick his thoughts on it. I actually have another thing to run by for Patrick, but Patrick was fine with what we had talked about. Then I went to Robert Graham and asked him, and he was like, yes, that'd be great. And then I asked the sheriff. I say the sheriff to last, because I figured, well, all this is going to be for naught if he says no. But he was willing to do it as well. He thought that was a good idea.
Okay.
So all three of them were in the group.
Mr. Hensley, why don't you go ahead and tell them, as far as the setup, is it gonna change? Are there gonna be the same number of employees? How is that going to work? Just the setup over there.
Yeah, the setup, and basically nothing really is going to change, other than the department now falls under the sheriff's department. There will be the same number of employees. The only thing is with Patrick, and I guess now's as good a time to kind of explain what I was trying to do with him. I had approached Patrick about becoming our IT person. And I also understood that he had a big hand in writing some grants. And if we remember, I've talked about getting a grant writer, and I think you
Correct.
actually made mention at one of the time or another that he did do some grants.
Right.
So we did pick up on that and thought, well, that would be awesome. And just to give you another little idea, we have a service agreement, an IT service agreement, that we pay X amount a month for 30 hours. And anything over 30 hours, we're billed at $65 an hour. I can tell you, since January, we have been over 30 hours every month. And we would be able to save that money moving forward. And it has been, at times, it's been a substantial amount that we've had to pay. So it's not knocking anybody out of the job. We're just really trying to, we're trying to get everything we can out of Patrick. Because I know he's gonna be good for this county, and I feel he has some talents that we haven't tapped into, and he can make a difference for us moving forward. I really believe that.
And we're saving money?
And we're saving money.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's not knocking somebody off the job, but why would you not utilize what you have instead of paying somebody else to do it?
You're right. And that company, it's really not knocking them out of the job, because I made sure.
Have
of
we
that too. I
gotten
didn't
all
want-
this bundle of cash in from after what we pay?
I'm sorry?
Have we got, in return, have we got anything for the money we've paid out?
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
I mean, we get IT service for
Where
that.
do your job pay?
But I think having somebody in-house is,
I do too, I think it's better.
and even the grant writing part of it, it just, I'm excited to see what he can do. I really am, so,
I got confidence in him.
Yeah.
You do a
Get
good
back
job,
to
he
the
always
dispatch
has.
thing.
Yes.
Now, cities will be taken care of too also.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't gonna be no bull. And everybody gonna sing harmony together.
everybody will sing in harmony, and I believe you'll hear it even more.
All right.
I
No,
really
all for
believe
that.
it. So, and if not, let me know.
Oh, I will, don't worry.
And in a regular meeting, not.
Yeah.
So, any other discussion on that?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we place 911 dispatch under the sheriff's department effective July 1st, 2021.
I second it.
All in favor? Bringing us into the number 9 part, it kind of ties in with that. In that department, there was a department head status. And obviously with Mr. Cook going into a different area, so to speak, that will fall under the sheriff's department, so he will be in charge of that now. So there will be no need for a department head status at 911 dispatch.
Right.
So, that being said, we have to make a motion to eliminate that department head status.
And sheriff, be in charge of appointing
Yes.
someone,
Do
correct?
we want to do that, or do we want to keep it like we got it, where we do appoint?
I don't think the way it would operate, the sheriff would be his own department head. You would not have another person.
Well, it being such an important part of the communication, I was just wondering if we should have some kind of say-so on it or something.
Yeah, I would think that he would need to appoint someone since it's under his purview.
Who would it be like someone in charge of the detention center? I mean, he's got someone in charge of the detention center and UPD, and then he would put someone in charge of dispatch as well. Now, that being said, before we move on to that, if this doesn't work, we're able to,
I think you would want to say that you're doing it for a year,
okay,
because you do need to give it time to work, but then you may decide that that's not the right answer, and you can revisit it this time next year.
okay.
And then if you decide it's the best thing since sliced bread, you may vote just to leave.
Sounds fair.
So what you was thinking, Ms. Dawes, that he would just oversee it, the sheriff from,
Right, he
There.
has a chief jailer, He has a person that is an administrative point person.
Right.
He has somebody that's over his
So it wouldn't have to be a
bailiffs for
department
court.
head, right?
Correct.
It'd just be somebody that's in charge.
Right, it would just be somebody that's in charge of scheduling those individuals and making sure they show up.
I see that.
But we're also talking about dispatching ambulances and everything.
Right, they would dispatch all police calls, all sheriff's
Fire
calls,
calls.
all fire calls,
Dog
all
calls.
ambulance calls, all dog calls.
Okay.
And it's some, I'm not 100% sure, but I think GPS calls, Georgia State Patrol.
On some occasions.
Yeah, that's a GSP.
On some roads.
I'd like to ask Patrick, since he's did this for a while, do you think that would work? How do you see that working that Ms. Doss was talking about?
It should work about the same as it is now. It just has to be somebody.
I mean, instead of a department head, it would just be somebody in charge.
Right.
You feel like that would be a possibility?
I think the sheriff would need to just put somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, with the sheriff
Right.
appointing somebody to do so.
Okay.
And I know, and I'm just sharing this because Mr. Patterson was the only person here in the previous administration, but I know like during COVID, there were periods of time that the administrative staff from the sheriff's office was also helping dispatch. They were filling in for people, so there's a lot of cross-training that goes on, but it in some ways gives you a bigger pool of people to cross-train with.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm good.
Well, if we're trying it 1 year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we try this. We remove the department head status of 911 dispatch for 1 year, at which time we will revisit it on July 1st in 2022. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, that moves us down to number 11. It's board action to accept the funding from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 in the amount of $2,543,356. And before we get too much into this, I really want everybody to know that since, and we'll call it the ARP funds, American Rescue Plan, we'll call it the ARP. These rules and regulations have changed so much from the first time that we even looked at them until as recent as May the 27th, and they continue to change. And the only thing definite about anything is there's nothing definite. So we actually spoke to Andrew Clyde this past Friday. He had called and wanted to know if we had any issues and some things he could help us with. And there was a lot of folks wanting clarity on exactly what we could use it for or what we couldn't use it for. And I do know that water sewer was in there, broadband. There was a couple of different things. I know at one point in time the Department of Health was in there, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, hang on a minute. So there's one thing that really stands out in that is water and sewer and broadband. And that hasn't wavered from the time that we've even started for this. But we do need to make a motion on that. But do you have any questions on that?
Not at this time.
Okay. And there's a lot of unanswered questions, so we'll just, we'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we accept funding from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 in the amount of $2,543,356. Can I get a second?
I have a second.
All in favor? Number 12 is a resolution for opening bank account for receipt of the funds of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Ms. Walker, we've been talking about this, and and we needed to have a fund, or we needed to have a bank account designated for this fund.
Yes, that's what ACCG is definitely recommending.
Any discussion on that?
Yes.
Mr. Surgeon?
No, sir.
So I will make a motion that we open the bank account for the receipt of the funds of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 for these funds to be deposited in.
Second.
All in favor? Number 13, I have a resolution authorizing the district attorney of the Appalachian Judicial Circuit to enter into a contract with the prosecuting attorney's council of the state of Georgia pursuant to the provisions of OCGA 15-18-20.1. And if y'all will bear with me, I'll try to read this. I know I should have brought my glasses.
Here.
You got to read it? Y'all bear with me on this, all right?
Now I can read this off. No, you go
Like,
ahead. You go ahead.
Well, have it.
Yeah.
All right, so it says, whereas the district attorney's office for the Appalachian Judicial Circuit serves Pickens, Gilmer, and Fannin counties and is jointly funded by appropriations from the state legislature in Pickens, Gilmer, and Fannin counties, and whereas some, but not all, of the attorney, clerical, and investigative staff employees of the district attorney's office are funded by the state of Georgia with all the fringe benefits of state employees, including medical, dental, and life insurance options and retirement benefits. And whereas it is equitable and desirable by the district attorney and the Fannin County Board of Commissioners to offer the same benefits package to all similarly situated employees of the district attorney's office. And whereas, as a result of the enactment of the OCGA 15-18-20.1, counties were thereby enabled to contract with the prosecuting attorney's council of the state of Georgia in order to allow non-state paid district attorney employees to be processed through the state payroll system, thereby entitling those employees to the same fringe benefits as other state employees. Therefore, be it resolved that unless and until such appointment shall be revoked or suspended by the Fannin County, shall be revoked or suspended, the Fannin County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes and designates the Honorable B. Allison Sosby, District Attorney of the Appalachian Judicial Circuit, and her successors as its designee for the purpose of contracting with the Prosecuting Attorney's Council of the State of Georgia in order to comply with the provisions of OCGA 15-18-20.1. And be it further resolved that the Fannin County Board of Commissioners, by and through its finance director or other designee, shall be responsible for transferring the Prosecuting Attorney's Council for the State of Georgia the required funds as necessary for all compensations, benefits, travel, and other expenses for all such personnel of the District Attorney's Office, including said contract. We're done. So this is again, this is the whole judicial circuit that does this, and it's again Pickens, Gilmer, and Fannin. That being said, we'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Excuse me. Well, number 14. It's board action on the Fannin County health care insurance for employees. So as you, I think Ms. Hall had emailed out to each one of you guys, I believe. She
Yes.
sent all those.
She did.
And there was two insurance companies that, and kind bear with me on this if you will, because she couldn't make it this evening. So I'm going to try to present this the best I can. There were two companies that actually wanted our business. The first one was Cigna, and of course the company we have now is United Healthcare. So both of them wanted our business, and Cigna came in a little bit cheaper, and they really wanted our business, but we were told by our broker, which will be here tomorrow, we couldn't make it either, but that Cigna would come in at a lower price, and then next year, there we'd be again, trying to figure out the price. So his recommendation was staying with United Healthcare. And by doing so, possibly next year, we would have, instead of 2 people wanting our business, we could then go back to 4. Because I think it was it Anthem?
It was Blue Cross Blue Shield, Anthem, Cigna, United Healthcare, and Aetna.
And Aetna. So Blue Cross Blue Shield and Aetna, since we had only been with United Healthcare 1 year, they wouldn't even quote us. So that left Cigna and United Healthcare. So I do know this, we went from 28% negotiated down to 12.4, 12.7. I believe it's going here.
And this is United Healthcare?
This is on United Healthcare.
And so you're saying that if we go ahead and stay with what the employees have, next year we can do some shopping and possibly get it even lower?
Possibly. That would at least open up the door for all 4 to give us a quote. And when you have, I mean, just from my previous experiences, when you have 4 bidding to get your business, then you can actually get pretty competitive on that.
How come the other 2 couldn't bid this year?
Because we'd only been with United Healthcare 1 year, and they didn't want to take a chance on it. They thought that we were jumping around from insurance to insurance.
We shop for the best deals
We
for
shop
our
for the
people.
best.
I mean, that's the American way.
Yep.
All right. Well, so what's this gonna cost the employees?
Nothing extra.
No, nothing extra.
No.
If we sit and wait until next year, I guess we can build up our resume to shop for something better.
Yes. This is no additional cost to the employees whatsoever.
As long as it don't cost the employees.
I mean, their pay to the county is going to remain the same.
Yeah.
And then I know Mr. Bidwell will be here tomorrow at 3:30
Yeah, to go over.
to go over with the department heads.
What's the 12% that you was talking about? Explain that.
So if you remember when it first came out, it was going to be a 28% increase for United Healthcare,
Yeah.
and it was negotiated down to 12.77%.
Why? I mean, but what is the cost? Why is it? What?
I think you have to look at our the payouts, as you know, like the overages on our premiums. In other words, we pay a premium and then whatever overages we have. You know, obviously we don't want anybody to be sick, but
No.
but that's and again, if you look back before then, it was the same instance. Our premiums were X amount, and we ended up paying over.
Who's paying the 12%?
County is,
County.
yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to agree with Mr. Bidwell. Seems like that United Healthcare's given us the best deal this far. the employees are comfortable with them, because they've had them before, understand the policy a little bit more.
If you also notice on page 8 of there's some things that they had recommended doing as far as the tobacco surcharge, and recommend adding that work spouse rule at a cost of $12.50 per week. And recommend no charge for dental for employee only. So there's a few things on there that have actually made to, to look better.
And that is removing the tobacco surge?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's
That was one of the big things that, the employees were wanting, so.
But that will keep the money back in their pocket.
Yeah. That's something that the prior administration chose to do, is from what Mr. Bidwell had said. So that's just something that he was able to, recommend removing.
Okay.
Because that did come out of the employee's pocket.
It did.
Not anymore.
I think it, if you look at it, we're already making a good move as far as helping the employees, because just like the $50 there, and on down, no charge on the dental coverage is good too. So I mean, that is showing some appreciation. Okay. And the $12.50 per week is for what?
A working spouse rule, they had a carve out where if the employees that worked here, their spouse was covered through insurance through their employer. If they were working, they would take their they would take their coverage through their employer. But now we can add that in. They're recommending adding that as a rule for $12.50 per week for anybody's spouse here that would ought to go into that plan.
Okay. Well,
And that actually saves the employee a lot of money too, because if you were paying, if our employee was paying $50 a week and could add his wife for $12.50 a week, I'm just throwing numbers out there. But on the spousal carve out, now the spouses haven't paid $50 a week too, so it's kind of, you're paying double insurance.
right,
As far as your money goes.
right.
So now, once again, it puts more money back into the employee's pocket that choose to go with this. So
Okay.
that's what we're trying to do, is take care of the employees. We're trying to do both, trying to get the best deal for the county, obviously.
Yeah,
But at the same time, we want to take care of employees who take care of us.
right. And the people.
And the people. And that's, hopefully this will give us an opportunity to keep everybody healthy.
And happy.
And happy. That next year we will have more doors open for us.
Yeah.
We hope, so.
That's good.
Anything else?
No.
I'm good.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we, keep United Healthcare as our insurance carrier.
I'll make it so. Or say.
All in favor? Okay. Bring us down to public commentary. Anybody who wants to speak, please raise your hand. Come up to the microphone, tell us your name and where in the community you're from. Hopefully everything is positive. Just a minute.
I'm Mary Taylor, and I live in Morganton, and I have a question about the American Rescue Plan.
Mhm.
So will Fannin County be the umbrella over every community, including the city of Blue Ridge, or will city of Blue Ridge be getting their own money?
From my understanding, the city of Blue Ridge will be getting their own funds as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And McCabe.
And McCabe, the cities will be getting the municipalities will be getting their own.
Right.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close public commentary. brings us down to executive session. We do have a need for executive session at this time. I'll make a motion that we go into executive session. Give a second.
Second.
All in favor? Let me put that with the mouse.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we come out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor? While in executive session, we discussed real estate. No action is taken at this time. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?